Thanks to NIS America, I got a chance to play Raiden 3 on the Nintendo Switch. I gave myself a good week of playing it, but understand that these aren't the type of games I typically play. In fact, I think I can count on one hand how many times I've really got into these shoot-'em-up type games. And it's not many. I would also include Eurokill as being one of these experiences because there is a significant amount of the game that you actually play it. But pure shoot-'em-ups? No, it's not really something I play or really get into. But I thought this would be a good, unbiased opinion about this game. And starting off, my first impressions were that this game is really mid. Now, if you're from a younger generation, that's quite the insult, but I literally mean, it's not great, but it's not awful either. It does what it does, and it's fine. It's a retro-style shoot-'em-up. By most quantifying aspects of the game, I just felt like it was mid. The way that we look into a game, graphics, controls, design, level design, it was all just kind of mid. It's not great, it's not bad either. But it does have responsive controls, and it was pretty fun, so I decided to jump on in and just get as much as I could out of the game. Now, first, I have to say that the movement speed for me felt just a bit sluggish. I just felt like this ship could move quicker, even though in later levels, the enemies, the bullets, they all go a lot quicker, and it just feels like you're kind of slow in this fast-moving world. But it's not anything that takes too much away from the game. There's only a couple of times in the game that I really felt like this was a problem, and that was in level 5 or 6, which is about as far as I got. That's right, I didn't beat the game, but much to my surprise, I was almost at the end when I found out that there's only 7 levels in the entire game, which sort of took me back as to the content that was available in this game. You see, you only get the one ship. You can change some characteristics about it, I guess, maybe, not really, and you're stuck with that same style, that same speed, nothing else changes, you just got that same ship. And at the same time, even though you look at the main menu, there seems like there's a lot of options. Most of them are just centered around playing the 7 levels, and I really felt like there was going to be a lot more to the game than that. But what this game does offer is a very traditional experience. There's not anything that's groundbreaking. Again, there's nothing that's also taking anything away from it, which is my whole thing about this game just being very mid. Now, there are 2 basic structures to every level. You're going to end up fighting a boss at the end, and there's also different power-ups that you can get throughout the levels as well. And these go from pretty cool to just really bad. And these 3 power-ups are red, green, and blue, with red being a scatter shot that pretty much covers the entire field. Blue being a laser that is super powerful, but again, it has its issues because it's just a laser. You're not going to be able to cover much of the battlefield, so it's really good for bosses and stuff like that. And then I think they tried to go the best of both worlds with green, where it's still a laser, but there's a little bit more fluidity about it, I guess. But ultimately, it just sucks. It's not that powerful, and it doesn't give you much coverage when you're shooting. You're still having to fly all over the screen in your slow ship with a underpowered laser. So honestly, if I saw a green power-up, I would just try to avoid it. And when I first started, I actually thought that by not getting these power-ups, you were actually hurting your score, but that wasn't true. Most of the score is actually calculated by how far you got in the game itself, which I think kind of takes a step back if you ask me. I think there would be, a much more improved scoring system if it would do something a little bit more out of the box. For instance, there is a multiplier, but it's really only activated when you're able to kill an enemy really quickly, almost as soon as they appear on screen, which you're already trying to do, so it doesn't really change your strategies at all. It just kind of plays into what you're already doing. The multiplier itself only goes up to 2, so I don't know. It's not going to be something that just has these gargantuan epic numbers, and I guess that's pretty much traditional. It's not going to go out of the box, and that's exactly what I'm saying about the game. If you're cool with something that is meh, then I think you're going to like the game, especially if you're a big fan of these style of games, and it's something that makes you just think about childhood or retro gaming, any of that nostalgia berries that people might get, then this is a good game for them. But if I'm being honest, for me, it wasn't so great. I didn't really appreciate the fact that, for one, as I said before, no other ships. I wanted more. This is 2023. Can I get a few more ships? Can I get a few more levels? How about just different styles as well? Most of the modes were basically focused on the same thing and the same levels. And if you're trying to go through this game, you're going to recognize level 1 through 3 very quickly. You're not, I'll be honest, I didn't even try on the first level, and I went without dying. This is me not being a very good player. Like, super, super easy. Not hardly even an issue. Then you hit to like level 5, and I was just dead in a second. It became such a slog to try to get further. This game is at the same time easy and also really hard. And I don't know. I understand like that's how most of these games end up amplifying the difficulty is slowly over time, but this doesn't do that. It's easy, easy, difficult. It just doesn't feel organic. It feels like two different teams worked on the first 3 levels and the last 3 levels, or last 4 levels, I should say. Really, I take that back. Level 3, really good. And then it really starts to go bad at around level 4 or 5. But yeah, it just feels like they aren't very cohesion. Now, the other issue I had with this game as well has got to be yellow. The effect of like jaundice going on in this game. Now here's what I mean. The projectiles, the bullets flying at you, yellow. Explosions, yellow. Some parts of the background could be very yellow. So towards the end of my runs would usually be because I couldn't even see the projectiles coming at me. Needless to say, it's not like I could move that quick to get out of the way because of my sluggish ship. But even if I could and was able to dodge them, it was still hard to pinpoint all of them. Now, again, there's like a million flying in at you, and it's hard to kind of keep track with them anyway, especially at the, I don't know, I would say the ramped up difficulty at around level 5 or 6. But you definitely are not aided by this yellow on yellow effect that's happening. I don't know how you would change that, maybe change the color of the backgrounds or just to make sure the projectiles popped a little bit better. For the most part, this game is very traditional. I've said that a million times. It's mid, it's not great, it's not horrible. It is what I think a lot of retro gamers would probably want. There's not a lot of add-ons though either. Although I will say that when you actually go out of it and you go into the aesthetics of the actual game, there are a fair amount of cosmetic upgrades that are available. For instance, you can frame it in different, like, pictures from the game, probably artwork, stuff like that. And also music. That is a big one, where you can customize which music is being played when, and even unlock different music as well. And I think, like, a lot of the tracks are really good. That is one place that I really enjoyed this game, was the music itself. Now, I felt like, me personally, it's not my style of music, but I respect that music in itself. Like, I respect the talent that went into making it, and there is some shredders on this one, like some face melters, which I absolutely love that kind of style of guitar, but again, just not really my cup of tea as far as the overall, composition itself. But again, a lot of respect for it, and really just kept me going in playing further and further was really just listening to the music itself. As I said, the game for the first couple levels really is actually almost boring at times, which sounds weird to say that, but yeah, you're bopping along with the music and you're just having fun playing the game. Now ultimately, for $29.99, I don't think it's a horrible price, and I do think it was smart that they put it at this price, because there's going to be a number of people who are going to get some sort of nostalgia for it, or just really be into shmups, and yeah, this would be perfect for you. Like, I think that if you're not expecting the moon, you're going to have a good time with it. And I could easily see fans of the genre getting competitive with the online ranking. But for me personally, I would score it about a 6.5 out of 10. I think it does a lot of things decent, has really great music, but doesn't have a lot of other stuff, and really not a lot of content for me personally to really get too invested. But at the same time, I think value is a pretty decent number for a lot of these style of games. It just sits right there in the middle, maybe boosted up a little bit by the excellent soundtrack. But that's just my thoughts on Raiden 3. I'm curious, do you guys play these type of games? Are you really into these styles? Is this something you're into? Also, do you find difficulty in them like I do? Like, that's one of the biggest reasons I'm not really into these style of games, just because I just feel like there's a wall I hit and I can't go any further no matter how I try or change my strategy. I'm just dead. But I'm curious about any and all of your thoughts. Are you interested in this game? Are there other shmups that you're playing? Anything and everything down in the comment section is much appreciated. Love you guys. Bye-bye.